Groups such as the South Individual and the Red Army faction collaborate political position. The two enemy regimes work together, and Israel as a part of that imperialist regime. The National Socialist underground, murdering at least 10 people. This experience is reflected by black and brown people in general. It is not uncommon. Arms exports are a pillar of the German economy, and within the German state is particularly evil when
it is difficult, I think, for lots of us. And the wine that we're passing around, which is actually grape juice from Comrade, it's halal, don't worry. But the wine that we're passing around, I think, can taste bitter for lots of us. But these are not only rituals of degradation, they have been in Germany and in so many other places, rituals of resistance. People came together and they made these prayers in ghettos, in hiding, in places where the prayers were so forbidden that to state them was to put our lives in danger. And although that's no longer our context, it's that hope for liberation that I think we have to hold on to as we raise our glasses today. And drinking wine, drinking sweet juice together is something that unites us across our cultures. It's not just a Jewish ritual. Breaking bread, as we're about to do, drinking wine, drinking juice together, is something that unites us across our culture.
ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו.
And we say together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And please drink. If you have something to drink, please drink, and if you don't, it's coming to you shortly.
I also remember a quote by Frantz Fanon who said, he was talking to us, as black people, he was saying, whenever a white person talks about a Jew, be careful because they're actually talking about you. And I would say something else to that. And I'd say this to my Jewish brothers and sisters. Whenever they talk about Muslims, and that includes the genocidal government of Israel, they're talking about you. The semantic structure of Islamophobia in this country, of a shadowy group of people hiding in the shadows, waiting to take over your institutions, pulling the strings, and waiting to initiate a new kind of political regime behind you. That semantic structure was borrowed from anti-Semitism. And even if the Israeli state propounds that ideology, that is still anti-Semitism. And so when I say to you all, whenever they're talking about a Muslim, they're talking about you. Now, the Israeli state, historically and for the last few years, has been providing a narrative. I hold that the Israeli state is the most powerful force of Holocaust revisionism, is the most powerful force of Holocaust denial. Because when you sit and you place the blame of the Holocaust on the Palestinian people through whatever revisionist history you've written about one person, you're engaging in Holocaust denial. The inverse of that is the way in which Europe absolves itself of 2,000 years of anti-Semitic violence. And it thinks that it can absolve itself by supporting uncritically the regime of Israel in its genocidal assault against the people of Palestine. But what it does is actually continues a struggle. Right here we've been talking about the Naaman Herrera genocide. It continues to defend the very ideological and structural roots of the Holocaust. Amy Césaire, in his discourse on colonialism, said that the only reason that there's this newfound anger at the self this newfound, oops, we did the Holocaust, kind of perception among the European intelligentsia was because they realized that they had done to people who looked like them what they had reserved for the coolies in India, for the black people of Africa, and for the people solely in the colony. Many German people today think that they're experts on colonialism, but not in the way that we think that they're experts in colonialism. They think that they're experts in colonialism because they think that they're the people who have absolved themselves from their crime, and what they cannot see is that they're doomed to be the same as their parents and their grandparents. Nothing has changed.
Palestine! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Today I want to talk to you about an idea that I talk about in my class and that my students learn about a lot. And this is the notion of the singularity thesis. Some of you might have heard of this before, some of you might not. The singularity thesis is the idea that the Shoah was a break with the course of liberal civilization and that nothing has ever happened like it before or since. That the Germans, and only the Germans, have committed the worst crime known to man, and that nothing else can compare to what Germans did to the Jews. This narcissistic identification with the role of perpetration is part of what has led to the inability in Germany to see Jews as living, breathing human beings beyond our suffering. We are either figured as dead or as fighting in Israel, phantoms or soldiers. It is commonly said that Germany has dealt with its legacy of anti-Semitism, but as you heard today, this is a myth. There is a deep dehumanization that comes with seeing Jews as in some way exceptional. And it is a dehumanization that we see in Britain too. So to come back to this idea of singularity, scholars such as Dan Diener have been central to this idea. So Diener argues that the Shoah constituted a break with everything that happened in world history before, and he calls it a civilizational break. He says that the Shoah was not, in inverted commas, a colonial crime, but something more profound, a fundamental rupture that forms the basis of Western morality. In this idea, before the Holocaust, there was enlightened civilization, and after the Holocaust, Germany has returned to enlightened civilization. So the Shoah was the only period of barbarism in European history. In this reading, colonial genocide is relegated to, at best, a regrettable historical episode, but not a crime that shatters the world that experienced it.
We are, of course, here today as well because of Yikadal Vikadash Merabah, the Amad Graf Merate, the Amlich Machute, Bachayachon, Yomachon, Bachay, the Kol Beit Israel, say Shalom B'Momai, Kuya say Shalom. Aleinu v'al Israel, v'al kol olam, v'yamru Amen.
Go for it. The organisation didn't even attempt to pronounce the German.
These days, it's called Section 9. There is still, I don't know how many there are still plenty of Jews in Germany who have not taken the plunge yet. I mean, I've been waiting for a while now, we're 8 months into the genocide, but in any case, there are still more who do not feel represented by the establishment. They don't feel represented by the Israel lobby. They don't feel represented by all this fake guilt talk. And I would just really want to emphasize that this guilt is a cover story. It's not about guilt. Firstly, it's about self-righteousness, saying we're the purest because we dealt with all that guilt. But secondly, it's also just about selling arms and having political influence. An ex-Israeli comrade of mine, he said, this isn't about Auschwitz, it's about NATO. And that's what we have to deal with, and that's why we have to point to all the links, make all the connections as the other comrades have been doing and as this whole excellent event is doing. And just one word to close, even this slogan has, because the German discourse is so dense so incapable of grasping the truth. They actually think that this is a way of downplaying Holocaust guilt, as if it was somehow free Germany from German guilt. No, it's free Palestine because the Palestinians shouldn't be the ones footing the bill for German genocide, whether it was 80 years ago or today. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name's Miri, I'm a member of the Black Jewish Alliance. We're a collective of black Jews, non-black Jews and non-Jewish black people who came together in 2021 to fight racism, fight anti-Semitism and fight for Palestinian liberation. So we came here partly to welcome in Shabbat, and I talked about in the protest, I was raised and remain a religious Jew. I'm a practicing Jew, and we said the Shabbos prayers, we made Kiddush, we said the Kaddish, which is the morning prayer for the dead. And that's like quite a difficult thing for me personally to do in this context, because I look online and I see TikToks and I see videos of Zionist soldiers saying those prayers in the homes, the ruins of homes that they have stolen from Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank. And that those prayers have come to represent something disgusting and something impure, that they're defiled by those people using them in those ways. They're using them as part of their system of ethnic cleansing and apartheid and genocide. And so it's hard to reclaim those prayers. It's hard for us, but I think it's something that as Jews we have to do. We have to stand before God and say that we have a tradition that goes back thousands of years, and that the 100-year Zionist project that defiles our religion is but a stain in it, and it will be overcome, and we will overcome it in our tradition, in our practice, with our prayers. And that's what we're doing here tonight. We're making Shabbat, we're bringing in Shabbat in solidarity with Palestinians. We're holding this protest today outside the German embassy because I think lots of people, especially Jewish people, know about Germany's legacy of genocide. And in fact, lots of us in the Black Jewish Alliance are the product of that legacy. Lots of us have family members, have ancestors who are survivors who came through that genocide. And Germany makes a lot of its legacy of anti-Semitism and having moved on, but the truth is that it hasn't moved on. The truth is that Germany's legacy of genocide started long before the Holocaust, with its deep complicity in the colonial genocide of the Herero people and the Nama people in Namibia, and it continues today with its deep complicity in the Zionist genocide that's happening today in Palestine. So not many people know, I think, that German arms sales to the Zionist entity, to the Israeli state, have increased by a factor of 10 since the genocide began in October. I think people don't necessarily know that after the United States, Germany is the biggest arms seller to the state of Israel, and it's responsible for nearly a quarter of Israeli weapons sales. So it's deeply complicit in the genocide, the apartheid, the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. And they use us as Jewish people as a fig leaf for what they're doing. They say we are atoning for our genocide by murdering Palestinians, when in fact there's Jewish Germans out on the street saying no, saying we don't want this, and they're being beaten and abused with their Palestinian comrades. So we're here to the Germans to say never again means never again for anyone, and we see you and we know what you're doing as you fund the genocide in Gaza. We know what you're doing. We understand that this is a continuation of your legacy of colonial genocide that dates back to the Holocaust and before, and we're here to say stop. Free Palestine from the river to the sea.